Yo, what up, folks? I know it's been a 3 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that, but happy to be back. Happy to be back. Hopefully, you all are doing good. Man, look at everybody in here. What's up, everyone? Shaquille, I see you. Jordy, Buzz, PZ, Santiago, Dennis. Hello, everybody. I hope you all are doing good this morning. Look, I wanted to really just jump on today and just do a big overview, right? We're going to talk about the market. We're going to talk about Bitcoin and altcoins. We're going to talk about that World Liberty Financial launch. That was so good just now. What else are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about a bunch of stuff. Honestly, don't know. We're just going to kind of just talk about crypto. Hopefully, you guys are all doing good. It's Labor Day. Happy Labor Day. Hopefully, some of you are off work, hanging out, chilling. Yeah, but honestly, I was just sitting here. I was like, you know what? Been a minute since we went live. So let's go live. And so here we are today. So I'm just going to hang out, drink some water, look at some crypto, and yeah, probably call it a day afterwards. So hopefully, you guys are doing good, as I mentioned before. And yeah. Hopefully you all are having a good one. So let's start off. Let me kind of lay it out today. Let me think. So we're going to look at the market. We're going to look at just kind of general coverage of what's going on. We're going to talk about how August, we did a lot of this yesterday, so not going to dive too much in, but we'll talk a little bit about how August did, talk about some of the things that are coming up this week that are important. We're going to talk about the World Liberty Financial Token launch. We're going to do some TA. I'm going to answer some questions, do a bit of a Q&A. So if you have some questions, save them for the Q&A section. Yeah, I think that'll be good. Anywho, what up, everybody? Oh my God, Patty KOL is nutty. What do you think? XRP can go lower? Yeah, we'll talk about all that stuff. Anthony, what's up, homie? Muhammad, Isaac, Jamie, Ahmad. Oh yeah. What's up, everyone? Appreciate it, homie. Welcome in. All right, yeah, as you guys know, I was on a bit of a cruise last week. That was fun with my least favorite redhead in the entire world, Connor Kinney, and a couple other friends, Kate O'Neill. That was a good time, but still got the content out for you guys. That was fun. But anyway, let's get into it then, shall we? Let's talk about what's happening in the crypto market. So it's honestly been a little bit quiet the last 24 hours. Not a lot going on. I mean, even if we look at the last 7 days, for example, it's not really been all that crazy, all that exciting. The last 24 hours has been like a little suspiciously quiet. I saw somebody say that in the chat. That was a very good way to put it. It's very suspicious right now. We're definitely seeing a little bit of teeter-tottering here in the crypto market. Bitcoin slightly up, ETH slightly down, most alts slightly down. Seeing a little bit of positive from Hyperliquid. What else is up, kind of? Let's see. World Liberty Financial just broke into the top 25, which is pretty cool, I guess. BitGet barely up. But for the most part, slightly down on basically everything over the last 24 hours. Hex, OKB, WIF, XTC. Means small losses, 4 to 5%. But yeah, nothing else too crazy going on. As I mentioned before, WLFI did just launch, currently at a $7.5 billion market cap. I'm going to talk about this. I know a lot of you were asking me whether or not I was going to be buying this. I told you I wouldn't touch this shit with a 10-foot pole. And the reason being is I just know how this goes, right? We saw it from Trump Coin, Melania. We've seen this, right? These government-backed launches just always do weird. Like, and sure, it might run. It really might. But I just don't get involved with it. It's not my type of crypto. It's not, I don't know. It's just not for me. I don't really have a great reason as to why. Honestly, guys, it's just not for me. I don't like the manipulation that's in crypto already is enough for me. I don't want to add just another layer on top of it. And look, hopefully it runs and hopefully you guys make some good money. I mean, that's what we're all here for. But at the end of the day, it's just not my thing. It's not my shindig. And none of these have gone well in the long term so far. So I'm not going to assume this will be the first one. Now, the truth is, yes. Is this an actual company? Yes. Is this a meme coin? No. Is there actual profit margins? Yes. Is there actual reason for this to do decently? Sure. I will give it that. So if any of them are going to do well, it would probably be this one. I just don't want anything to do with it. Like, that's just kind of where I'm at, right? The last time we saw these government-backed cryptos launch, the freaking market just absolutely nuked and we didn't have any fun for a long time, right? So I don't know. I'm not big on it, personally speaking, but I will talk about it. We will kind of look at it, talk about what it is and all that good stuff, because I know a lot of you guys have some questions. Now, the market right now, as I mentioned before, it is pretty quiet, but I think it's pretty clear as to what is happening, right? We quite obviously saw the market break down, and it's just following Bitcoin right now, right? So even on a day like today, you can kind of see Bitcoin dominance is evening back out, and Bitcoin has regained a little bit of control over the market over the last 24 hours, okay? Now, what we're going to do is we're just going to go to the daily so you can start to see the picture that I'm trying to paint. So going into the month of September, we saw the crypto market basically just break down, right? So we were in like this ascending structure. We were basically just climbing, climbing, climbing for quite some time, which was pretty fun, pretty cool, right? From March all the way until August, we saw the crypto market just absolutely climbing up until the end of August, at which point we saw, of course, Bitcoin's price start to break towards the downside. Now, as a result of Bitcoin's price breaking to the downside, I told you all, listen, this is my game plan. This is my strategy. I'm going to go in and I am going to be dollar cost averaging Bitcoin at key zones of support because it is in my belief that Bitcoin's price is going to come back down. It's going to try to find a higher low. And it's going to try to use that higher low to continue upwards into the bull market. I don't think the bull market is over. It might be delayed. It could be some time. We might end up just doing this, guys, until December of 2025. I don't, or beginning of 2026. I don't really care. Okay. At the end of the day, I'm not convinced that the bull market's over. I'm not convinced that we're going to absolutely do this. I'm not convinced that we're just going to absolutely plummet back to 40K. And so because of that, I am willing to dollar cost average at key zones of support that I think have a good chance of pushing it back upwards. So I've laid out my strategy and I've laid out these zones for you very clearly. I said I'm going to be doing some dollar cost averaging between 111 and 106, which I have been recently, and I'll touch more to that in a second. I laid out my next key zone of support at $98.4 thousand, which is this macro low that we had right here. And then, of course, my final point of support between $90,400 and $82,694, which, of course, is the Fibonacci golden zone, as you can see there. Okay. And so what I've told you all is these are the zones that I'm going to be doing my buying. And I expect, again, that Bitcoin will try to use one of these zones to break to the upside. I don't know which one it's going to come down to, but I do think that even if it does come down to them, I'm not going to start to be concerned. I'm not going to start to be even worried. Now, you guys may wonder, okay, Tyler, what happens if it falls below that? Well, it is in my honest belief that if we do fall below $82,000, the likelihood of a bear market being here is very high. I would say that we're talking 70, 80% chance. Because historically speaking, when Bitcoin breaks macro structure like that, right, of this nature, where we start losing these massive lows, yeah, typically you are in some sort of bear market. For example, whenever we were in this run right here, boom, right, what happened? We pulled back. We had moments where we pulled back, but what never happened, we never set lower lows until we did. And then once we did, guess what? That's the bear market. And you can kind of see that playing out and even in this previous bear market. Sure, we had, or this previous bull market, right? We had these pullbacks. Had a whole bunch of them. Even this one, we had a pullback right here. But guess what? Even this pullback did not create the new lower low. We came back to the equivalent low, and then we continued upwards, right? And so in my opinion, right, whenever Bitcoin's price decides that it's going to come back down and start losing macro support levels like $76,000, yeah, we're probably going to be entering into some sort of more long-term bear market. And all that means is that Bitcoin's just not going to do much for a while until it starts to run again, right? And so I think that since I don't think we're in a bear market yet, I still think we're in a bull market, these are the levels that'll bounce us back upwards. And if they don't, well, okay, I was wrong. And that's okay with me. You know what I mean? I'm not afraid of saying that. You know, one thing that I do criticize many other creators about is, listen, you're just going to be wrong sometimes, and that's okay. At the end of the day, we're human beings. We're not, creatures. We're creators, not creatures, right? And we're willing to take those risks that some people are not. But at the end of the day, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Like, I don't think Bitcoin's going to fall below these levels. If it does, I'm wrong. It is what it is. But guess what? The cool part about it with this strategy is that even if I am wrong and Bitcoin does enter into a bear market, I'm buying at the best times possible, right? Because, okay, let me ask you something. If you were going to be buying during this bear market, right? Let's see this, okay? If you were going to be buying in this bear market right here, where would you want to buy? So say you're not trying to time the bottom. You're not trying to just wait for the bottom to be in, because no one can time the top. No one can time the bottom. No one knows when that is. So if it is in, it's your prerogative to buy at the best times possible. When would the best time to be? It would have been right here. 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 And it would have been right here. Why? Because these are the levels that provide the most likelihood of the price reversing, right? These levels provide the most opportunity for the price to be able to generate gains. And so if you're in a bear market and you're buying in a bear market, what you need to be doing is buying at the best times possible. Not trying to time the bottom, buy at the best time possible consistently, because it will add up over time and you will make gains when the market returns, right? And so when I'm looking at this market, like with Bitcoin right now, I'm thinking, okay, great. Well, guess what? If I'm wrong and Bitcoin does this, and then this, and then this, and then it goes like this. Boom. Guess what? These were still the best times to be buying. And guess what I'm going to keep doing? I'm going to buy here, I'm going to buy here, and I'm going to buy here. I'm going to consistently ride this train downwards, buying at the best times possible up until the point where we do start to reverse. That's exactly what I do on the shorter time frames. It's exactly what I do on the longer time frames. I mean, let's go look at what I've done like over the last year, right? Over the last year, you can see my strategy in full effect. I buy at the best times possible, and those are the biggest support levels possible. And so look at what happened whenever the market dipped right here. Whenever we crashed from, December all the way way into April of this year. Look what I did. I bought some here and it kept going down. I bought some here and it kept going down. I bought some here and it kept going down. But what happened? I was buying at the best and most opportune times possible up until the point that the market reversed. And the second that the market reversed, since I was buying bigger batches the lower we went, I was able to lock in profits very fast. I went to profit right here, guys, and was able to capitalize on this entire run. I didn't try to time the bottom. I didn't try to do any of those things. I simply just dollar cost averaged over and over and over again up at these key levels of support up until the point that the market returned. And that's my plan going forward. That's what I'm going to do going forward. I'm going to be buying at these key zones of support, and we'll just see what happens. If we bounce, fantastic. I was right. If we lose support, I was wrong. But this is still the best case scenario for if I was wrong. And that's the way that I like to play this game, right? So when I look at Bitcoin, my strategy is very, very simple right now. I don't care if it goes down. Listen, I don't want it to. I don't want Bitcoin to go to 82K. It is possible. I don't think it's going to go down to 82K. It is possible. And so I'm prepared for that. And so when it comes to Bitcoin and when it comes to the crypto market, that's where we are. Bitcoin is making the decision. Bitcoin is going to decide for the entire market whether or not we're going to continue into this bull market or whether we're going to have a very boring couple months here. And it is all going to just come down to Bitcoin. Now, what's going to influence Bitcoin? You guys know already. What's going to influence Bitcoin is interest rate cuts. There is nothing more important in the world of crypto right now than interest rate cuts. Now, do I agree with that? No. Do I think that it should be that way? No. I honestly don't think interest rate cuts are even that important for the crypto market because the intrinsic value being, created here in the crypto market is much bigger than what the interest rates cut, what the federal fund. I mean, it's just like, I don't want to say it's unimportant, but we shouldn't have to care about interest rate cuts, but at the end of the day, we do. Why? Because interest rate cuts have a direct impact on liquidity, which is going to have a direct impact on risk on assets, and crypto is a risk on asset class. Okay, so we have to care about interest rate cuts, and that's what the big thing is going to be. And this is what we talked about in yesterday's video. The outlook of the market for the next couple of weeks, the next couple of months, is going to come down to what happens with rate cuts. And I'm not going to lie, guys, I'm not loving what I'm seeing with the whole interest rate cuts thing, and I would love to hear your opinion, right? Because many people are saying, okay, and I just saw the comment, so it actually just made me remember this, but some people are saying, well, the market's already priced in interest rate cuts. And if that is the truth, right? If that is the case, why is Bitcoin down? Why did Bitcoin fall from $125,000 to $106,000? If the market truly believes that an interest rate cut is coming, why is Bitcoin down $19,000 over the last couple of weeks? It doesn't really make a lot of sense. Why aren't things continuing to rally? The reason why they're not rallying is quite simply just because people don't actually know whether interest rates are going to be cut or not. They know they're coming soon, right? They know they're coming over the next couple of months, maybe 5-6 months. So that is priced in. But an interest rate cut in September being priced in, I don't believe is not true. I don't believe that's the case. I don't believe it's actually priced in because people don't actually know. My question that I provide with a lot of people is I say, okay, listen, if interest rate cuts are actually coming, what's the catalyst? What's the real reason why the Fed needs to cut interest rates right now? And most people can't answer that question. They'll say, well, we got this poor report right here, or this poor jobs report right here, or this thing right here. But then I can always come back and say, okay, what about the fact that inflation's still high? What about the fact that some economic data is good? What about the fact that some of the economic information we recently received was better than expected or at expectations? If the Fed said they're not going to stop cutting rate, or they're not going to cut rates until inflation is controlled, but inflation is still 50% higher than their target, why would they cut it? Now, listen, do I think that they should cut rates? Honestly, I feel like they could, right? I'm not giving my opinion. The opinion that I'm trying to give is a contrarian perspective, because the contrarian perspective is the Fed. They think with the contrarian perspective. And I think that there is still a much higher chance that they don't cut rates in the next couple of weeks compared to what the general belief is. The general belief is that there is an 85% chance that they cut rates in 2 weeks from now. I don't think that's true. I don't think it's that likely. And so knowing that people don't know whether they're going to cut rates, but people are betting that they're going to cut rates, I think it's creating this big stew of weird shit that's going to put the market in a very volatile and very fragile position. I think any piece of news, anything that's going to happen over the next couple of weeks that could or could not imply whether or not interest rate cuts are going to happen is going to cause this market to pump and dump all over the place. These pump and dumps are going to be magnified by manipulation. You're going to see liquidity hunts happening everywhere, and it's going to put this market in a place in which you can't really predict at all what's going to happen. And so I'm in a kind of a spot right now where I'm going to sit back and watch mode. Like the next 14, 15 days, I'm really just sitting back and watching. I've de-risked. I pulled back a lot of leverage. I'm really not doing much. I just need to see this play out, because almost every single opinion that can be provided on interest rate cuts can be countered. There are contrarian perspectives, valid contrarian perspectives on every single opinion on interest rate cuts right now. And so because of that, it's just creating a big mix-up, a big stew I don't want to be a part of. People are betting big that the market's going to go up. People are betting big that the market's going to go down. And guess what? Everyone's going to lose. All this emotion and all this confusion and lack of clarity is going to, of course, trigger the lizard people. Just wake up, lick their eyeballs, look, boom, manipulate the market, cause everybody to lose. So over the next couple of weeks, I think it's going to be mayhem, honestly. It's weird that the market's quiet today because I think mayhem is coming. I think people are going to get wrecked on both sides of the coin. No pun intended. And so because of that, what am I doing? I'm not really doing too much. I'm not going to lie. I'm not really doing too much. And so that's kind of where the market is. The market is in a wait and see approach. The market is holding its breath. The market is being balanced by those who believe rate cuts are coming and those who don't think that they're coming. The market is being balanced by people who are trying to front run interest rate cuts and the people who are taking profits right now. The market is in a balance. And I think this balance is going to lead us to a lot of liquidations, a lot of manipulation, a lot of big hunts, a lot of chaos. And when you mix in the fact that we have a government backed crypto that just launched, it's only going to add to it. Think back of December and January, right? And so it will be interesting. I am optimistic. I still do think that this crypto market can rally. One of the reasons why I think crypto can rally is because, I mean, look at liquidations. Look, hold on one second. Look at this. I mean, look at Bitcoin on the 30-day, right? I think this is very optimistic to me. Look at that. I mean, $16 billion worth of liquidations and Bitcoin just goes back to 121. That's not that far. I mean, that's a move back like, you know, like that. Bitcoin does that. It liquidates or has the potential to liquidate $16 billion worth of, trades. But the problem is that look at the 1 day. This is where the real interesting stuff starts to happen. Because on the 1 day, it's a lot more unbalanced, or it's a lot more balanced in the sense that people really don't know. So this kind of paints the picture for the crypto market right now is that in the short term and even the midterm, people don't know what's going to happen. And this market is going to see mayhem and chaos and people are going to get liquidated on both sides. But the long-term picture remains clear to me. The long-term picture remains clear to me in the sense that I don't think this bull market's over. And even if mayhem does ensue, even if Bitcoin's price wants to do this and 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 this, I don't really care because I still think that we're going to try to make the move upwards. I still think this market's going to rally. I still think gains are going to come. And I still think that there are still gains to be produced from this bull market. I still do believe that to be the case. And so the overall overview of what I'm trying to say here is that Bitcoin lost structure and it's due to people being uncertain and unsure about interest rate cuts and what's going to happen. And it's causing Bitcoin to pull back and pump and pull back and pump. And it's causing a lot of volatility in the short term. And what I think the best thing to do here is to let this volatility play out. Let these interest rate decisions happen. Let the rumor spread. Let the news release. Let's just see what happens. And then once we have more clarity, then we'll make more, bigger decisions on the moves we want to make, whether we want to long, whether we want to take profit short, whatever it may be. So that's my perspective on the state of crypto right now. And that's my perspective on interest rate cuts. And again, interest rate cuts mixed in with Bitcoin is clearly having a massive impact on the rest of the market. Now, the truth is, it's, the altcoin market's holding up extremely well, right? Like that is the case. But still, like if Bitcoin just absolutely nukes, guess what, guys? It's going to bring the rest of the market down with it. But if Bitcoin pumps, it's going to amplify it for alts, and alts are going to pump even harder. And so that's just kind of what we need to be understanding of right now is that Bitcoin will have the amplification impact on the rest of the market. And that's where things get juicy. That's where things get interesting. And I'm very curious about it. Now, interestingly enough, ETH has had kind of its own little run. Like ETH has been doing its own thing and bringing the altcoin market with it. But at the end of the day, I think it would be foolish to assume that Bitcoin and the interest rate cuts are going to have no impact on altcoins. I would say they're going to have a bigger impact on alts than anything over the next week. And so that's kind of what I'm watching. So it's a big brew of weird stuff, honestly. Like, the crypto market's in a bit of a weird spot. It's weirder than I've seen in a while. And I think it's just because there is this looming thing that people don't really know how they feel about, and it's causing a lot of weirdness. Okay. So yeah, anyway, so that's kind of my general thoughts. I know that obviously wasn't the most well put together and well articulated opinion on the market, but this is my general belief, okay? The short and the midterm is going to be absolutely riddled with chaos, riddled with mayhem, volatility, liquidations. People are going to get destroyed on both sides of the coin. But as we get through interest rate cuts and we get a clearer perspective on what the market's going to look like and what things are going to look like and how interest rates are going to be and what liquidity is going to look like, it is going to open up the door of opportunity for a much clearer perspective on what the long term looks like. My opinion is that the long term is still positive, that we will see Bitcoin set a new all-time high. I think we're going to see altcoins finally crack all-time highs at some point. I think all of those things are coming, but we can't really know the timeline of that until we can start to get a clear picture of interest rate cuts, because the market has just determined that that is the most important thing ever. I don't think it is, but the market has determined that, and we can't fight it. We're wasting our time, okay? And so that's kind of where we are. The short and the midterm is full of risk and full of craziness, and I think the best thing to do right now is to de-risk as much as possible. I told you all in yesterday's video that there were 5 things that I would be doing right now if, going into September to prepare for this chaos. And that included things like de-risking right now, pulling back on some of the leverage, getting rid of your low conviction bags, things of that nature, making an emotional commitment to yourself to not get caught up in the volatility, right? And I still think that's the best thing to do right now is just prepare for the chaos that's coming in the short to midterm, but appreciate the fact that we are going to have a lot more clarity of the long term really soon here. I think what Jerome Powell does and says in, the September FOMC meeting is going to tell us a lot about what we can actually expect from the next few months, and that's going to dictate the direction of the market. So obviously, I can't really tell you what's going to happen, but I can tell you what to watch for to know what's going to happen. And it's obviously interest rate cuts. And in the meantime, it's going to be ugly. So I love your opinions. Before we kind of move on to the next thing and we start doing some individual TA, let me know. What are you guys kind of feeling about? First, tell me, okay, this is what I want from the chat. I want short-term conviction. So in the short term, let's say the next 6 days, are you bullish, bearish, or neutral? Midterm conviction. So the next 1 to 4 weeks, are you bullish, bearish, or neutral? Long-term conviction. Over a month, are you bullish, bearish, or neutral? Put those 3 things in the chat right now, and let's just kind of see where everyone's at and how everyone's feeling. I think that's going to be a pretty interesting thing to kind of assess, because while you guys are doing that, just to kind of give you my perspective, is that I have noticed more people are really expecting September to be a terrible month than I think than is reasonable. And this is another part of the weird shit that I'm talking about. Everyone thinks September is going to be a terrible month, but also everyone thinks interest rates are going to get cut in September. And those things that's a little bit contradicting, because people have been saying for so long, if interest rates get cut, it's going to open up more of an opportune environment for risk on assets, which should pump risk on assets, right? But at the same time, they're saying the month that interest rate cuts should happen, it's going to be a bad month, right? And so I'm curious about your perspective, because it is very weird to me. It is very weird to me. Let's kind of see. Let's see what everyone's thinking. Okay. Short-term bullish. Okay, short-term neutral, mid-term bearish, long-term bullish. Seems reasonable. Short-term, I think we're oversold. Next 6 days neutral. Neutral, October bullish. Neutral, bearish, bullish. Okay. Bearish, bearish, bullish. Neutral bull. Neutral, bearish, bullish. Bearish, bullish, bullish. That's interesting. Bullish, bearish, bullish. Okay. So you think we're going to pump, then pull back, and then pump? Shout out to Francis. Short-term bearish, mid-term neutral, bullish. Over 1 month bullish. Okay. Bearish, neutral, bullish. That's so common. Short-term bearish, mid-term neutral, long-term bullish. Confused. Good morning. Good morning. Bullish, bearish, bullish. What if they don't cut? I'm going to talk about XLM in a little while, homie. Let's see in your comments. Bullish, neutral, neutral. Because no one believes we are not getting cuts. Or at best, just don't know. This week, we'll get the clearest direction of rates after the job numbers on Friday. I could do a poll. I just kind of prefer these. And that takes a while. Neutral, neutral, bullish until the end of the year. Okay. So the general sentiment that most people have is that they're either neutral or bearish for the short term and the midterm, but bullish in the long term. And I think that's really reasonable. And I think a lot of the neutrality and the bearishness in the short and midterm is coming from lack of clarity. I think no one actually knows what's going to happen. That is my genuine belief. I think no one knows what's going to happen, and no one knows what's going to happen as a result of what happens. So what I mean by that is people don't know if rates are going to get cut, and they don't know how interest rates getting cut is actually going to impact the market. Because many people are saying, okay, well, if interest rate cuts are priced in, and then interest rates do get cut, that's going to be a buy the rumor, sell the news event that's going to lead to the market dumping, even if rates do get cut. Then also people are saying, well, if interest rates don't get cut, that's bearish. But what if he says something like they're going to get cut next month? That's bullish. And you see what I mean? Like, man, this is one of the most unsure times I've seen in crypto in a very, very long time. Give your answer, Tyler. We don't care about these brokies. Well, first of all, Luke, stop that. Second of all, I'm short-term neutral, midterm neutral, long-term bullish. Wow. What I do know, though, When was the last time I was this unsure? Probably the presidential election. Going into the presidential election, I really didn't know. Like, I genuinely didn't know. I didn't know. I was very unsure about a lot because polling data was weird, right? Like, it seemed like everyone, for like the majority of people were going to vote for Donald Trump, but polling data showed Kamala Harris in the lead. And I thought that was confusing. And the market also found it confusing. And no one really knew what was going to happen. So we were like herky jerky about it. This feels the same way. This feels very much the same way. Everyone's screaming that this is going to be like a terrible month, but people betting that interest rate cuts are going to happen. It's freaking weird, bro. Honestly, like it's a very weird one. So anyway, sorry. I know I keep saying it's weird. I'm just fuck. It's weird, dude. So yeah. So with that in mind, though, I will say I have made some moves recently. I have made some moves recently. So with this in mind, let me mute this guy. With this in mind, didn't mean to do that. Okay. With this in mind, let me kind of show you what some of the moves I've made are. Okay. So I've made some pretty decent moves recently. Okay. So the first move that I made was about 4 days ago or 5 days ago. I said I just took profit off of Solana now that we're getting pretty close to the top side of the ascending wedge, which was this that I was talking about. Okay. I said these structures break down much more frequently than up. So just protecting my gains a little bit here. It definitely could break upwards, especially if we see some good news, but historically that's not as likely. I'd say a 35 to 40% chance of happening. Also going to swing a tiny bit of my profit into a short trade just to see if I can compound those gains up a bit as a hedge. We'll close that down if Solana breaks upwards. Update soon. So in this trade, I took $850 worth of profit off of Solana right here in this little zone right here. And then I swung 10% of that $850, so $85 into a short trade on Solana. Now, that short trade actually ended up doing pretty good. At one point being up about 50% or so roughly. And so going into September, knowing the volatility that was on the way, I was like, you know what? What I'm going to do is I'm going to take out my initial $85 that I invested into this short trade, and then I'm just going to leave my margin plus profit equaling to my current state of profit. So I just cash out 85 bucks, right? So I 850 of profit I took. I put 10% of that into a short trade, right? Because we're at the top side of a wedge. Once that ran up 50%, I then pulled my initial investment and then left this short trade only with profit. So it's just a free hedge against it. So if Solana does drop, I'm capable of just making some free profits on that pullback that I can then take and then reinvest back into my long-term bag. I know it's a bit of a roundabout way of doing things, but I do prefer it that way. That trade is still holding up pretty well. What you can see, okay, anyway, what you can see is that that trade currently is up about 61%. The floating profit is $26, but remember, that is literally just profit. So the $42 of margin is just profit. The $26 of floating profit is just profit. So I took $850 of profit, took $85 of that profit and turned that $85 of profit into an additional $65 worth of profit. And so the whole goal of doing this is just stacking little bits amount of cash. And I do this with a lot. This is just Solana. I have a couple trades open on ETH and then one on Bitcoin as well. And these are just quick little hits that I like to do, quick little moves in and out the market that I can use to stack up cash. And because remember, my goal is to always just dollar cost average in the best times. And so what I can do is say, for example, if Solana's price does pull back here, something like this, boom, we come back to say 154. I can then close down this short trade, reopen that, close down the short trade, take that profit, use that profit to dollar cost average somewhere around here so that when we run, I took profit, compounded the profit, took the compounded profit, put it in here, ran that up to profit. And so this is better, in my opinion, than dollar cost averaging. This is like an amplified version of dollar cost averaging because I'm capable of capitalizing on these downward swings. So that's what I did with Solana. Let's kind of talk about what I'm doing now. I also did open up a short trade on Ethereum, but then I closed it because I had a better opportunity on ETH's chain, which is annoying because ETH is now down from when I opened up that short trade, but it's okay. I had to just kind of put it in the more opportune area. And then I did make some pretty big purchases recently on some stocks that I actually will talk about in a second. Now, before I do get into talking about what I did with stocks, I will let you guys know that, as you all know, I am partnered up with Coinex, and they did just release some really cool updates regarding their yield and the earn section over on Coinex. So if you guys check out the link down below to Coinex, go check out the financial section. It's coinex.com/en/financial, and it's going to bring you to this page. And what they've done is they've put in some of the absolute best flexible savings for most of your big cryptos out there. So we're talking USDT, USDC, Bitcoin, ETH, Solana, Tau, and many more. Now, the reason why these are so good is just simply not only because they are very credible in big cryptos, and this is a great exchange, but also the APY is simply just better than what you can get in like traditional financial systems. So you generally speaking, national banks pay anywhere from 0.03% yearly APY, or, online banks, for example, can do anywhere from 2 to 1.5%. But the crypto market has obviously always been able to do better. And this is a result of staking and loans and earn and much more, all being more decentralized. And so this can go anywhere from like 2% to 16%. Obviously, some of these higher percentages are not long-term sustainable. They oftentimes do drop the bigger these pools get in order to sustain the incoming flow of liquidity and the outbound payments. But generally speaking, they do a very good job. I do have my own finances kind of tied up, and I am getting some APY from some of these because I do like them. I am partnered with them, so I want my own skin in the game as well. So I am going to leave the link down below. If you guys do want to go check it out, it's very easy. You just sign up, you log in, you pick which one you want to subscribe to. So say if you have TAO and you want 3.3% APY, you press subscribe, you put your subscription amount, you press subscribe, boom, just like that, you're gaining rewards. And obviously there are different like kind of fine prints that you do need to check out, but for the most part, it is very simple. So as per usual, shout out to CoinX for always being a great sponsor of the channel, and feel free to check out the link down below if you want to go check it out. It is an affiliate link, so feel free to check that out. Let me know what you think. Now, moving into the next portion, okay? Moving into the next portion, let's kind of talk about what is happening now. Okay, let's talk about what is happening now. So yesterday, I actually made a couple moves outside of crypto that I figured I'd tell you guys about. Let me know in the chat, put yes or no. But I figured I'd kind of share some of the stuff I'm doing outside of crypto as well. I do make some investments in the stock market that I figured you guys may want to hear about, just to kind of show some of the other side of what I'm doing. Let me know if that's interesting to you. But what I actually ended up doing is yesterday I rotated $10,000 of my recent profits into two of my favorite stocks, Apple and Robinhood. Robinhood is a bit of a more risky investment, if I will say so myself, honestly, because it has just been going absolutely dumb. I mean, it's at all-time highs, outperforming most traditional finance platforms. I mean, it's been doing a very good job. Its PE ratio is like 52 or 57 right now, which is very high for industry standards. It's usually like 18 to 32 or something like that. But I do believe that Robinhood will continue to take over more and more of the traditional finance sector, especially as younger generations do grow into the age of investing and stuff like that. And I think Robinhood's going to put a lot of those bigger ones and the more giants out of business one day. It is obviously one of the more risky types of stocks that you can buy, because if we go into a bear market across stocks and crypto, you are going to see Robinhood's revenue drop like crazy, and that is going to immediately impact its stock price like much faster than a typical traditional financial company. But I just do like it, and so I did put $5,000 into Robinhood. All of this I do through an asset manager. Again, I have an asset manager that basically handles everything. I'll give him a call, tell him what to do. He handles it for me, sends the screenshots. We get all that bad stuff done. I don't have to do anything, which is great. I also don't have to keep any of my funds on my phone. So obviously for safety procedures and safety measures, I don't have access to anything. And then I also did the same thing with Apple. I do like to buy some Apple stock every now and then, just because I use everything Apple. I mean, I'm on an Apple computer right now. I'm on a freaking, I don't remember what that thing's called. It's like a mini. I have an Apple iPhone. I have Apple AirPods. I have everything Apple, and I'm a firm believer in investing in what you know. I can't imagine a world where Apple's not huge. So Apple's price has not performed that great recently. So I think it was a good time to add in. In addition to that, every single day, I dollar cost average VOO. This is the S&P 500. I do $600 a day into that. So you can, of course, see every single day that the market is open, dollar cost average $600 into the S&P 500, again, through an asset manager to just get everything, locked up and everything going in. That is a forever bag. And then also, speaking of forever bags, I buy Bitcoin every single day, $400 of Bitcoin every single day. And you can kind of see how that's played out. And it's cool to see the changing amount of Bitcoin that I can buy. But I have been doing that. I haven't stopped that. I still dollar cost average every single day into VOO and Bitcoin, $1,000 total daily. And then again, as I mentioned before, I did throw another 10 grand across Robinhood and Apple. So those are the only moves that I made outside the stock market. Typically when I invest in stocks, I do much bigger things faster. Like I do a big purchase of Apple or a big purchase of Robinhood compared to my crypto portfolio where I'm doing stuff daily. The reason why I do bigger movements in the stock market is because I'm not watching the stock market every day. I have stuff to do. I have an asset manager to handle everything. I don't want to pay attention to it. And then with Bitcoin, again, I just do it. Obviously, the only annoying thing here is that I buy the Bitcoin on a centralized exchange and then immediately send it off to multiple different external wallets that are located in different places. And so that does take a while. It takes like 20 minutes every day, but it is what it is. Safety first. But yeah, so that's the only thing that I've been doing recently. I do have my buy zone set for Bitcoin, as you can see. So I have been doing some DCAing on Bitcoin as we are in these buy zones. But outside of that, I mean, I'm just waiting. I'm just holding. I'm not doing much trading. As you can see, the only trade I have open is this tiny little bitty ass Solana trade right now. Outside of that, I don't really have any other current trades that I'm interested in. There are some long-term trades I have open, but these are only quick short-term trades. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's it for everything that I'm doing. As I mentioned before, I told you I'm not touching this with the like. I'm not touching this freaking this thing. I hope that it does well. Let me know in the chat. Put a 1 in chat if you are invested in the WLFI. Put a 2 in chat if you don't. If you're not investing in it, put 3 in the chat if you hate it. I'm just curious. I'm not touching this thing with a 10-foot pole just because I know the sort of manipulation that can happen. I know the craziness that can happen. I'm not sure if the government's learned from its mistakes when it comes to launching these tokens because they're just launching more tokens. So to me, I just don't want to be a part of it. I mean, it has huge trading volume. I get that. But at the end of the day, people are just, this thing is going to be riddled with insiders. It's going to be riddled by profit taking. And unless the market just absolutely sends, I just feel like this is going to be another example of insiders being able to capitalize. And of course, outsiders being, exit liquidity. And I just don't want to be a part of that, obviously. And so, yeah, I'm kind of good on that. They have been doing some good bit of updates. Yeah, I mean, it's been getting a lot of support. Don't get me wrong, launching on Coinbase, launching on Binance, but it's not helped. People are still taking profits, and I will be curious to see. I think the biggest defining moment, right? Whenever you really want to judge whether or not a crypto is going to do well or not, you need to look to see after the first pullback. So it obviously pumped all the way, or started at 30 cents. It's pulling back currently down about 15% today. Let's see what happens after the first pullback. If it's capable of finding some support and running, that's a good sign, and it means that the insiders aren't going to kill it off. But if every single pump is immediately followed by a bigger dump, it's just being insider traded and it's just going to get destroyed, right? And it's just going to be consistently what it is. So I don't want to be a part of that. I mean, I think dollar cost averaging in on it now isn't a terrible idea. Now that it has pulled back, I definitely wouldn't have been buying much when it first launched, but I'm not getting involved with this. So that's what I'm doing there. Let's look at bubbles to see if there's anything interesting going on. I did mention Crow is giving me some pretty good signals right now. I do like the fact that Crow's price is holding up so well after such a crazy run. Obviously, it has pulled back a little bit, but I even made a TikTok about this a few minutes ago, I guess over an hour ago at this point. Like the fact that Crow... Where's that thing at? Hold on. Yeah, the fact that Crow's like, look what's happening here. So like its price is pulling back, don't get me wrong, but like look at its RSI. The RSI is overcorrecting very badly. Like low, lower low at the same time that we are still significantly higher than this low. And it just means that Crow is doing a great job at resetting right now, which I think is going to open it up for the door of opportunity to push upwards. And this is normal, right? Crow ran into a massive zone of resistance. It ran into the Fibonacci golden zone. Seeing a pullback and a reset and then a reapproach is very normal. So I actually think Crow is one of the best performing cryptos recently, especially because of how it is handling this pullback and this drop off of volume. Anyway, let me kind of jump into the chat here. I'm curious to see what people are saying. I want to see what people are doing with what's it called? WLFI. No way Tyler makes us believe he trades with this crumbles. It's little stuff. Whatever. All right. Fish, why gamble with tuition money? But Q4 is the door so hanging there. If someone is confused as hell, make your own moves, people. We all know data will be coming out. So yes, bears for the short term. Wait till FOMC if rate cuts, then more pain till October. Luke, we get it. You fund the USA government when he needs money. You're that rich. Okay. Okay. What did I say? 1 if you're buying it, 2 if you're not, 3 if you hate it. 3, 2, 3, 2, 3. Jeez Louise. 2, 2, 3. Yeah, people just hate this thing, huh? What tool can you use to see if things are oversold? That's a great question. You can easily use the RSI. The RSI is the best tool that you can use. It is going to tell you whether or not something's oversold in terms of strength and momentum. Basically, if the RSI is below the 30 level, it is oversold and it is too low. One thing you can do if you are curious about that, and you did set me up for a quick shill, so I appreciate you. If you do want to know more about like how you can use tools and indicators or anything that I talk about in this video, don't forget, guys, I will leave the link to the crypto playbook down below. This is, in my opinion, the most valuable free resource that there is in all of Web3. My team and I have been putting this together for weeks and months at this point, and it just goes over as much as you can imagine, right? Talking about making money in crypto, psychology, safety, getting started. The RSI, which you just asked about, is available here. You can see here, I took notes for you, and I gave you an entire video going over how the RSI works and all that good stuff. It's all available here. Any of these lessons that you see with the camera next to it, This is a video. So there's a video attached to it. So like market manipulation, how to fight manipulation, how to leverage trade, fundamental analysis, technical analysis, the Bollinger Bands, all that stuff. It's available and I'm adding to this every single week. So feel free to check out the link to the crypto playbook. It is going to be down below. As you can see here, all you have to do is press get instant access, enter in your name, phone number, and email. You don't have to put your phone number, just name and email. And I'm going to email this over to you. People have really been liking it. It seems like it's super helpful and it is completely for free. I'm not talking about fake free. I'm not talking like actually it's just free. So feel free to check the link out in the description down below to check that out if that does interest you. If you, yeah, that's a great one. Someone said the RSI heat map. If you do want to know if the entire crypto market is oversold, go over to coinglass.com/pro/futures and then go to type in RSI. It's going to give you the RSI heat map. This is every crypto in the top 100. You can see if they're weak, oversold, strong, or overbought, or neutral. So like right now, for example, most cryptos are either weak or neutral. And this is generally a good time to do small dollar cost averages because historically the neutral and the weak zone is a great time to dollar cost average into, because in bull markets, you don't usually go into oversold very often. You usually will come back to neutral and weak before rallying again. So this is the way that you can look at the entire crypto market as a whole, basically. Okay. Hopefully that answers your question. Anyone who's spamming bonk and stuff, you're gonna get destroyed. Like I'm just gonna ban you. I'm just gonna let you know now. Minnie doesn't get the link for the crypto playbook. Okay, just check your spam. If you're not getting the link for the playbook, just check your spam. It should be there. Are you going to do some trades with Crow now, even at the price of that? I don't trade things that are super hyped up and big. Like the ones that are moving and pumping like crazy and stuff, I don't usually touch them with trades just because I think they're too heavily manipulated. Tyler, September 17th, tell the truth. What truth do you want me to tell? It's okay. Welcome in. Never too late. I'm just holding meme coins waiting for the altcoin season. That's an interesting play. If you can invest and know what you're doing, then don't. Wait. If you can invest and know what you're doing, then don't invest. I think I agree. I got it, but many in the CSS haven't gotten it. That's very odd. I'll go check in there. I just bought DexRP. Can you talk about it? I mean, not much to talk about. It's doing good. They've been doing well, raising a lot of money, and hopefully the launch goes well. Obviously a risky play, but we'll see. Just lost $1,000, so hurt. Can't add anymore. There won't be any recovery until October. When you say loss, are you talking about realized or unrealized losses? Coral Protocol still good. Yeah, I like Coral. Coral's good. Coral's very good. You still talk to Uncle Larry? Yeah, I do chat with him every now and then. I've been super busy. We have been doing a very big expansion at my company. Oh, speaking of that, I want to tell you guys something, and hopefully you guys do like it. I'm so glad you mentioned that. That took me down the right path here. So if you don't know, I run a company. I have an influencer management company, influencer relations agency. We are one of the biggest in the entire world of crypto, in the world of Web3. We work with some of the biggest creators in the world. And we actually did recently just start up the Fluence YouTube channel. So feel free to go check this out. The Fluence YouTube channel. Let me go ahead and throw this bad boy in the chat. Copy this if you'd like. I'll also throw it in the channel. Let me go ahead. 1 second. Let me also throw this in the description. All right. It's also in the description if you guys want to go check it out now. Just give the page a refresh. What we do on this channel is we talk to and interview some of our favorite creators in the space. So you can, I had an interview 40 minutes with Sam from My Financial Friend. I had an hour-and-a-half interview with Austin Hilton. Mind you, these are 7-figure, 8-figure entrepreneurs in the world of crypto and outside the world of crypto. And this is completely just free value. So you can go learn like things from their perspective, talk about the market, investing, entrepreneurship, business, saving money, going to school. Like there's so much stuff here. We have interviews releasing 3 times a month. We have Oscar Ramos coming on next. I'm going to be getting interviewed on the channel. So I'm going to talk about my life and stuff like that, which I think is pretty cool. So feel free to go check it out. The link is down below. These were 2 great interviews right here. They are brand new. So feel free to go check that out. But yeah, we've been really busy getting the content team put together for that. So I haven't had much time to talk to Uncle Larry, but yeah, I think he's doing good. The first 2 Fluence episodes were great. Love to hear it. Appreciate it, bro. Mr. Nibbles in the building. Shout out to Mr. Nibbles. Hashtag Mr. HMZ. I think I saw Steiner in here, the manager of the notification squad. My man, Tyler Hill, do you still expect a nice second leg of the bull run, especially in the main alt? Yeah, I think so. Tell about Picoin. I've never really been huge on Picoin, so I'm not 1,000,000% sure, to be honest. Only watch you and Connor Kenny, but recently I've only been watching yours. Well, happy to have you, and shout out to my least favorite redhead in the entire world, Connor Kenny. Is it a good idea to hold some cash for DCA? Yes, absolutely. Oscar XRP, yep, that's the one. Any thoughts on Ton? I got 5K in invest, not sure if Ton or Pump. Why not a little bit of both? Hey, Tyler, what do you think about Int? As I can see the RSI is below the in it. I haven't looked at that one. In it. Kraken. Yeah, the 4-hour RSI is oversold. The issue that this thing has, though, is that when it pumps out of the oversold region, it just doesn't pump much. So I'm definitely not like, this isn't one I would be too interested in. Thanks for all the great educating you've been giving us over the years. Watch you every day, bro. Happy to do it, Swayze. I've seen your comments all the time and, over the last few years. So, yeah, I appreciate you a lot. Don't like Oscar Ramos. Told people to buy XRP at $3 when it was pumping, then dropped all the way to $2. He also told people to buy XRP at 50 cents. So take that for what it is. Up September, down October, up November, December, all season. Hopefully, that'd be great. XRP support levels. Let's look for some XRP support levels. The only XRP support level I'm currently looking at is the descending channel. So XRP is breaking to the downside of the triangle, right? And usually what XRP will do is if it breaks to the downside of a triangle, it'll bounce down to the bottom side of a descending wedge and start creating a more macro descending structure like this. So in my opinion, I think the most important thing to be paying attention to is like this rough zone, this descending level of support. But if you want a tangible linear portion of or area of support, I would definitely say $2.67. With Trump trying to become the first trillionaire while in office, do you think launches like WLFI is just another object in the already muddy water of crypto? I feel like those are like I'm confused on the correlation between the two because I guess I get what you mean. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's just another thing. I'm not super excited about it personally. Thoughts on Qubit? Qubit's doing great. Qubit's still doing great. I think it's up still like 20 or 30% over the last 30 days. Very good. Tyler, Ginger Spice, Connor, and Sam are must follows. Shout out to them. I love this watch, by the way. I think that's a Speedmaster, if I look. Yeah, it looks like, I can't really see it from here, but it looks like a Speedmaster. Shout out to you. Is Athena also heavily manipulated? Yes. What do you think about H-Bar? I like H-Bar. Not performing great, but I do like it. We're going to talk about Solana. Yeah, I'll talk about Solana in a second. What crypto platform do you use? I use all of them. Coinbase, Kraken, all of them. I know I'm not trying to ban you and stuff, homie, but you keep spamming. You got to chill. You still short on Salt? Yep, I still do have it. Shout out to Brillo. Welcome in, champ. Tyler, do you please see the chart of Bonk how long did a few hours back? I'm totally sure that the lizard people know retail is talking about a rep September to hold on to your hats. That's how I also feel. It's just weird. Everyone thinks interest rates are going to be cut, but it's going to be a terrible month. What if the market's reverse psychologying the lizard people? Now that's fun. Everyone's like, interest rates will be cut and the price will probably go up, but we're going to say it's going to go down, so the lizard people make it go up. That's funny shit right there. Let's talk about some. Someone said, is it the best time to buy? It's not the best time to buy right now, but it's definitely an okay time to dollar cost average. Can you say pretty dang badass just once? There you go. All right, let's talk about some alts. So XRP. Also, guys, don't forget. I'll talk about that in a second. Never mind. I was about to show the Instagram. 1 second. Drink your water. I'll ban you from the chat. BT Dubs. 1 second. Gotta get that out of screen. There we go. So Ethereum. The story is pretty simple for Ethereum. Ethereum just broke to the downside of this ascending structure. It's now trying to use this gray zone of support to break back towards the upside. If it loses support here at the $4,169 level, it's very likely going to head back down into the green zone, which is a massive zone of support that really needs to hold. Because if it doesn't hold, then it does put ETH in a perspective where it is now starting to lose macro support levels. That's not a great thing. There is still one more support level down here at 3370, so it's not the end of the world. But for ETH, I would definitely just be watching these two zones. The gray zone, which ranges between 4175 and 4350. Can it hold support to pushes above the red box? If it cannot do it, can the 3960 to 3750 level do it? If neither one of these levels can push us back above that red box, things are probably going to get ugly for ETH. So this is all I'm watching. XRP. It is breaking to the downside of this triangle. I think it is now coming down to create the descending triangle, the descending wedge, whatever you want to call it. So I will be acting on my typical strategy here, which is usually pretty simple. Buy within the bottom side of the wedge and, of course, take profits. Here you can see it a little bit clearer now. Buy at the bottom side of this wedge, take profits anytime we bounce to the top side up until the point where XRP does try to break upwards, at which point I'll then take more profits off the table. So for XRP, this is where I believe we are. Solana. is still in this ascending triangle, so I'm not doing much. I am very nervous and cautious about the fact that Solana has a history of breaking to the downside of these, so I'm not doing much on Solana right now. I still do have my little tiny short trade open for Solana right now, but outside of that, not doing too much because I still do know that Solana has an over 60% chance of breaking back towards 178 bucks. For SWE did lose the golden zone. I told you what would happen if we lost the golden zone. I said, listen, if we lose support at the golden zone here, the breakdown targets are 327, 306, and 281. We've already lost support at 327, so I think SWE heading back down towards the $3 level makes a lot of sense. So I'm just kind of holding off on SWE right now. I'm giving this bad boy some time. I do think it will try to find some more macro support around that top side of the golden zone, maybe around like $2.96. So I will dollar cost average some SWE in the future, just not right now, okay? XLM is in the same exact predicament. It lost the golden zone. I told you what to expect. If it loses this golden box, be expecting for it to come back down towards 36.2 cents. That's what it did. Now it's lost support here. If it continues downward, I am expecting a move to 33.7 cents. So again, XLM is another one I'm just holding off on for now. It is creating some sort of descending structure, so I think that is worth noting, but that does imply that it would need one more pullback. Like it will need to kind of come back down and pull back a little bit more. So for XLM, I'm just in pause mode. I'm not doing anything. Small dollar cost averages on XLM are fine because it is starting to show us some signs of reversal coming possibly soon. So doing some small DCAs on XLM isn't a bad idea. Just be aware it might come all the way back down to like 30 cents before reversing. So save some cash on the side to be able to continue to dollar cost average the lower it goes. Okay. Also, Fish and Steve just used the link in my bio. It's not popping up yet because it's a new channel. H-bar just broke to the bottom side of its own descending channel. I think it's pretty clear what we need to do now. Now that it's broke to the bottom side, of the triangle, what you need to do is you need to look for linear resistance, which we have. That does then provide us with, of course, linear support, which historically will be followed. I would go ahead and assume that this is what H-bar is trying to do, which could imply that bigger pullbacks could be on the way for the time being, maybe back down to sub 20 cents, maybe back towards, 19 or 18 cents towards the bottom side here. I'll update it as it plays out, but I do know that that H-bar, is back in the bottom side of the RSI, so some sort of reversal could happen soon. So it's kind of just in a 50-50. Structurally, it should pull back a little bit. RSI says that it should start to bounce a little bit. So I'm just going to let H-bar play out. I wouldn't be in a rush to do any big buys or anything right now. ADA, don't love the fact that ADA did just lose some support right here. Typically, when ADA loses support of an ascending level, it will go back to the last time it touched it, which would be right back here, which would imply that ADA could easily start coming back down to this little zone between 76 and 66 cents. So I would expect that ADA might have a little bit more losses in front of it. SHIB is still trying to, play a bit of a balancing act right now. It's trying to hold this golden zone of support and use it to break above the blue line. I told you once before, and I'll tell you again, I'm not doing anything with SHIB until it either loses this golden zone of support, which will then send it back towards 11.61 or probably 10.99, or if it breaks the blue zone. While it's in between the yellow box and the blue line, I'm not doing anything. Same goes for Pepe. While it's in between the 938 level and the blue line, I'm not doing anything because I need to see this decision before I make a move. Crow is pulling back a little bit here. But again, I do think that Crow is resetting extremely quickly, and it feels to me as if Crow is going to try to find a higher low and continue upwards. So although I'm not dollar cost averaging Crow yet, I would be willing to actually do some DCAs on Crow, especially if it can come back to like 24 to 21 cents, somewhere in this little area right here. Jasmine, not very interested in it right now because it is still retesting the support. We need to see if it holds. Bonk, Bonk is showing some signs of wanting to reverse here, but it will be incredibly important that Bonk's price is capable of holding this support. One thing that I am kind of picking up on without even needing to see the Fibonacci's is that Bonk is, yes, again, at the very bottom of the golden zone. So Bonk's in a very easy spot to understand. If Bonk falls below 2032, it's probably going to continue back lower, possibly falling as low as 1959, maybe even as low as 1870 with some sort of bigger move down here. So a short trade or just a reduction of leverage if it loses support here would make sense. But if Bonk is capable of holding support at 2330 or 2032, don't be surprised at all to see it push back up towards 23 to start trying to create some sort of like structure like this, right? Something like this, right? So that's kind of what I would expect. If Bonk can start to make a run, I do think a beautiful move could be on the way, but it all depends on if support can be established right here or not. Okay. Doge is the same as Pepe and Shiba Inu. Many of the meme coins are doing the same thing. It's trying to find some support on top of the golden zone, which ranges between 20 cents and 21 cents. If it can stay above this and push above the blue line, that's great. I think a move up towards 25 or 26 cents is possible. But if it loses the golden zone, I do think that it will come all the way back down to sub 18 cents. So I'm not doing anything with Doge until it decides whether or not it's going to use this support and go up or use this resistance to go down, at which point I will update you. BNB is in a bit of a triangle right now. BNB is kind of just stuck between this key level support and this this key level of resistance. I think that it's going to make a decision pretty soon here. If it falls to the downside, you have 3 bounce zones. Bounce zone 1 being at 832, bounce zone 2 at 819, bounce zone number 3 at 798. These are the 3 levels that I think BNB will try to use to bounce back to the upside, very likely establishing that support and trying to continue upwards because BNB is manipulated and can't fall. So because of that, these would be the 3 levels I would be willing to dollar cost average some BNB on if it does fall through the bottom side of this support. And Trump coin, I saw someone ask about it earlier. Trump coin is just trying its best to build up some support right now. It keeps battling right around 835. If it can use 835 to break back above this golden zone and get back above 957, I think it's in a great spot. That would obviously also put it in a position in which it does break through this trend line here. Right here. So I would say kind of with Trump, this is the way I would be looking at it, just like this, to simplify things down a little bit. If Trump can use this 835 support to break above the green line, it's in a good spot and will probably come back towards $10.20 or above. If it gets rejected and loses 835, it's very likely going to head back down towards this little range between 719 and 749, which could imply that a bigger pullback of somewhere between 15 to 16% is on the way. So if you're a Trump holder, what I would do is just draw on your resistance right here, draw on your support at 835, turn on your alerts and watch closely to see which direction it breaks out of, because that's going to be the direction it likely goes in for like a week or two. Okay. Stop that. Okay. Don't put any links or anything in the chat, guys, please. Okay. Shout out to everybody who dropped the super chats. First and foremost, keeping it real says thanks for being here. Thoughts on Trump coin. Those are my thoughts. I think that it's okay. It's obviously not been performing very well, and I think it's because it doesn't have a ton of actual value. But at the end of the day, there is a community that could push it up. So dollar cost averaging here isn't a terrible idea. I just wouldn't be buying much. I definitely would be watching 835 and the descending level of resistance here closely. The direction of the breakout of this is going to tell us everything we need to know. So shout out to you. And then shout out to Navdeep, your ETH prediction for upcoming 7 days. It's very hard and obviously extremely difficult to tell. If I had to guess, I would assume that ETH would pull back towards, say, like $4,100 over the next week. So I think ETH kind of like ranging back around this little level, somewhere in here, makes the most sense for the next 7 days. All righty. Jeez. That was a huge TA session. And we are at the 1 hour mark. So since we are at the, since we are at the 1 hour mark, guys, I am going to go ahead and open it up to the Q&A section. That is going to be it for technical analysis for the day. So please, no more, asking for price predictions and stuff. We'll save it for the next stream. Trust me, I got you. One thing that I do want to remind you all on, though, and I will show you this really quickly. Let me get this bad boy loaded up here. If you do want extra content from me on all of these alts we've been talking about today, feel free to follow me on Instagram. The link is down below at TylerHillYT_. Every single day, I'm talking about alts and giving a quick, short update on what they're doing. Yesterday, we did 10, Render, XLM, Sui, Crow, ADA, Doge, Pepe, Solana, XRP, and Bitcoin. We talked about all of those just yesterday, and it is growing. It is cool to see. We're at 2,500 followers now. A lot of the videos we post get anywhere from 700 to a couple thousand views. So you guys seem to be enjoying it, so feel free to check that out there. And again, don't forget, I also did put the link to our new YouTube channel over in the description, which you can go watch these interviews with some of my favorite creators and some of the people that we work with on a daily basis. So feel free to check that out. Check out BTCC if you want to do some trading. Shout out to Coinex for sponsoring today's video. And yeah, let's open this up to a Q&A. We're going to wrap this up in the next little bit here. Down and sideways until if we get cuts. Okay. What's your take on TIE? I like it. I just think it's not having a great time right now, but I do think its time will come. Crow, we did Crow. Does YouTube not have a bot blocking people posting links? You would think. I like the IG Tyler. It's great for quick updates. Cool. Awesome. I would keep them going then. Watching every day. It's okay you didn't reply today. Shazir, I talked about Bonk Homie, so don't worry. AI coins visible. AI coins viable. Yeah, I think they're still viable. Screw loose. What up, homie? Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Happy to have you. Thoughts on the market if tariffs are appealed? It'll probably do really well. Would you do a small DCA bag of little quick in and out? Yeah, why not? If you want to just take a gamble on it. Would you hold Doge 3x long with a liquidation price for 14.5? I'm not a financial advisor and I can't guarantee outcomes, but I will take a look. 14.5. Yeah, I think it's fine. I mean, I'd be pretty surprised if Doge fell that far. That's a great entry. My word. I think it'll be all right. Obviously, again, I'm not a financial advisor. I can't guarantee outcomes or results, but I think it'll be all right. Oh, you said bank. Might be. Eat some apple or pearl for the throat. Yeah, I was sick last week, so just kind of steering clear or trying to get past that. Tyler say amazing being on GOAT. Thanks for your update. Shout out to you, Zero Hate. All love. Is your crypto portfolio Bitcoin heavy or more balanced between alts now? It is very Bitcoin heavy because I buy Bitcoin every day. My Bitcoin position is like 65, 70% now. No, I think it's kind of stupid. I think that the market being uncertain makes a lot of sense. I think the market being scared is kind of just dumb. You know, one of the points I presented yesterday that no one can kind of argue with, like, is this. Everyone's saying September has to be a bad month because in 2013, 2017, and 2021, September was a bad month at this portion of the 4-year cycle. So what they'll do is they'll go look at the month. They'll say, okay, 2021, red month. 2017, red month. 2013, red month. So therefore, September of 2025 has to be a red month. And I say, okay, let me ask you something. 2013, August, green month. 2013 August, green month. 2017 August, green month. 2021 August, green month. 2025 August, red month. If August was the one that broke the pattern, why can't September break the pattern? Everyone who says September has to be red because it's always been red is just, it's like you just want to be scared at this point. That does not make sense. That just does not make sense. Why would September have to be a red month because of the way it performed historically if August wasn't a green month? It doesn't make, I don't know. It annoys me. It's one of those arguments that actually annoys me, so I'm going to leave it alone. I can argue with it. I just can't do it well because I agree. Holding back and doing nothing. Do you trade gold? I don't trade gold. I don't know much about gold, to be honest. Everyone confused, just come to the CSS. You can't check the CSS out. We have a huge announcement for the CSS coming over the next week, so stay tuned for that. Some big stuff going on over there. Is doing karaoke on the cruise with Connor that killed your throat? Exactly. You get it. Are you able to post the Discord link and pin it at the top of the chat? The Discord is connected to our school. I'll talk to you more about the school in like a week. I think we make an MLO. Bro, you're gonna have to help me out with that one. They always say the stock market goes against the majority. They do. It does indeed. Okay, how do I join your, I don't know what you called it, where you tell trade is going to go? It's in the school. The school is linked in the description below. I have some big updates for the school coming over the next week, so stay tuned. Shout out to Paul Ruiz with the $10 donation. Much appreciated, my friend. All love. Do you think the market will still have a multiple X alt market before the end of the year, or can we expect another bear market first? I still do think it's possible. I don't think we're going to see 30, 40, 50 X's unless you're talking about sub $100 million market cap cryptos. But I do think things like SUI or Solana, for example, can still a couple X, 2, 3, 4, 5 X. I think it's very possible. I see no reason as to why it can't happen. And so, yeah, I think it's the case. So much appreciated. Paul, hope you're doing well, homie. All love. What changes the possibility is a dovish Fed when if Powell cuts rate? Yeah, agreed. Your prediction on the tariff court ruling? I don't know, honestly. That all kind of started popping off while I was on the cruise, and I haven't looked into it much. Elusive, there's a link in the description, okay? I think we make a lower local low and then close green this month. I love it. I'd be cool with that. Gold has been good lately. I'm a noob, but it's helping. I know it's off topic. No, that's totally okay. Why gold? Of everything, why gold? Best purchase on Coinbase right now, Bitcoin. CSS. Yeah, the CSS is the school. Crypto Strategy School. Tyler, could you please go over ZBCN? Sure. I know I said I wouldn't do this, but I do like ZBCN. So. I could have swore I had it in here somewhere. Maybe not. Yeah, pretty clear what it's doing in my opinion. It is ranging and it's bouncing between multiple Fibonacci zones. As you can see, the broad range for ZBCN right now is this. How do I, why am I tripping here? Oh, there we go. The broad range for ZBCN right now is a range between 569 and 46753 to the top side. This is the top side golden Fibonacci zone. Bottom side golden side Fibonacci zone, or bottom side golden Fibonacci zone is 28 to 33. ZBCN is just ranging between these two. It wouldn't shock me at all to see it come all the way back down to this one. Then I think it'll try to probably bounce between these two. I do think ZBCN is going to open up the door of opportunity for another move. I think if ZBCN can break above the 574 level, a move up towards the 1 cent mark is very, very reasonable. So I actually do like ZBCN right now, and I think that is getting closer and closer to becoming a buy. So yeah, I do like it. You think Altcoin is going to do good this cycle? Honestly, not sure. I don't really look into it a ton. Got a bounce. Was good to see you live, bro. Much love. You've been the best YouTuber. Shout out to you, Screw Loose. I hope you're having a great day, homie. Do you think Trump's attempt to fire Lisa Cook can affect powell decisions? No. Gold is a volatile thing. Yeah, I figured. Gold can be a huge hedge. Gold can be a good hedge versus Bitcoin and stocks looking at relative valuation charts. Agreed. What's your take on Connor Kenny? He's my least favorite redhead in the entire world, but he is one of my best friends. So it respects SRs, RSIs, and reaction news and moves. Oh, good. Might have to check it out. I don't really look at gold much. What are your thoughts on bear market trading for minimum wage income? It'll be hard and it's risky, but it's possible. You know, I've traded in bear markets. How can you skip every airdrome finance question? Can you tell us your thoughts, please? I just don't know much about it, and I've said that a couple times, homie. Check out Kate O'Neill's channel, though. Check out Kate O'Neill's channel. He talks about it a couple times. I think he has a better opinion than me. Thank you so much, Tyler. Yeah, shout out to you. Yuhan, I believe. Yuhan Bai. What do you think of the trade your Bitcoin? What do you think of the trade? Oh, I don't like that narrative personally. Bitcoin can't be replaced. ETH can. When will the market go green? Hopefully soon. Great analysis as always. Thanks for all the love. Shout out to you, Matthew. That's per usual. All right, homies. Well, look, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. I definitely say farming yield is more secure than bear by far. I definitely agree with that. Favorite cold wallet would have to be Ledger, just because it's so big. But again, guys, hopefully you guys have had an absolutely good morning. Sharing the last hour with you, boy. I know obviously it was a little bit of a sporadic live stream, but always happy to jump on and always happy to chat with you all. As I mentioned before, there are a couple things in the description you can check out if you want more from me. The biggest one I would say that is helpful is the crypto playbook. It is an absolutely massive playbook, just absolutely packed to the brim with information. It's the most valuable free resource in Web3, in my opinion. You feel free to go check it out down below. All of the cameras mean there's a video to go along with it, so you can learn directly from me in exclusive content that you can't find anywhere else. Feel free to check that out. If you are trading some Bitcoin, Solana, ETH, whatever it may be, you can go get up to 10% in deposit, 10% in first-time deposit bonuses over on BTCC. It's up to $10,000. Follow me on Instagram if you want extra content. Check out Coinex if you want to yield. Yeah, I think that's everything for now. So again, everybody, I appreciate you so much for joining in. Yeah, I just realized it's almost lunch, and I said the morning. Your boy been just grinding. So hopefully you guys again did enjoy today's stream, and I can't wait to see you on the next one. See you, everybody.